Now I'd like to welcome Noemi, one of our storytellers today. Noemi, thank you for being here. Please share your story.
I graduated from grad school, and about 2 weeks later I found out that I was pregnant for the first time. My fiance and I were really excited, and we kind of shared the news with everyone and just kind of enjoyed that honeymoon period. As the pregnancy continued, my stepchildren were bonding with their soon-to-be sibling. We went in for my 20-week ultrasound, and the next day the doctor's office called us back and said that they needed me to come back in for another ultrasound. And so I wasn't really sure and just thought, okay, no problem. We'd been there for an hour before, and I just thought maybe the technician didn't do something right, or I don't know. So we went in the next day, and this is the Friday before Labor Day weekend, and we went in, the technician did the ultrasound, and we kind of pressed her to tell us, well, what's the gender of the baby, because the previous ultrasound had showed like a 70% probability that it was a girl. And so we were kind of hoping to get more of a confirmation. And, she told us it appeared to be a girl, and, she excused herself from the room. And so he and I were kind of just giddy in our excitement and, exchanging various things about our baby girl that was on the way. And the doctor came in shortly after that and did his own review and turned off the screen and just kind of turned to us and said, I'm sorry, your baby's brain didn't develop. And at that moment, I felt the weight of the world just fall on me. And I didn't know what that meant, but something told me that's not really good. And we kind of asked, like, well, what does that mean? And he basically explained that what appeared on the ultrasound screen was dark, and that indicated that it was fluid. And he explained that that indicates, that there isn't brain matter there. And he excused himself from the room and reassured us that we could take all the time that we needed to process the news that we had just learned. He also apologized that no one had prepared us, because he asked if, we had known why we had been asked to come back, and, we said no, they told us to come back in when a genetic counselor would be available to speak with us. But we didn't have any idea, we walked in there blindly. And after a while, we eventually composed ourselves and walked into the next office and met with the genetic counselor, and then again asked, like, what does this mean? But at that point, I knew what my decision was. I knew there was no way that I could handle it. I knew that I could not be strong, not just for myself, but for the other children that we had in our home, for my partner and our families. The genetic counselor asked us, what we thought after she presented our options, and she explained that there wasn't any indication that I couldn't carry the baby full term, and she explained that given the amount of fluid that was shown on the ultrasound, that our daughter had probably a life expectancy of no more than 6 months and would be severely disabled and would require 24-hour around-the-clock care. And our second option would be that I could opt for an abortion, even though I was at 20 weeks and beyond the limits, but given the condition that the baby was diagnosed with, which was hydrocephalus, we qualified for a medical abortion. And so they told us, you know, it's a holiday weekend. If you do choose the latter, we're really up against the clock. So, you know, we need your decision by Tuesday. And just based on the negative stigma that comes with just the word abortion, let alone you've chosen to have an abortion, we decided to just tell our immediate family and closest friends. I shared the news with my supervisor, and she was very kind to send out an email to our team stating that I had suffered a miscarriage. You know, at my request, I just didn't feel comfortable disclosing that at the time. And, you know, we went in for the procedure. It was a 2-day procedure, and I didn't have to worry about any cost or anything. Like I mentioned before, I was a recent graduate, so I didn't have a job, I didn't have health care. This is pre-Affordable Care Act, so at that time, unless you were a minor or a parent with minor children or a disabled adult, you didn't qualify for Medicaid. And so once I learned that I was pregnant, I did qualify for Medicaid, and so I was fortunate that I lived in California and that we don't have a lot of restrictions around the way funds are used and just the access to abortion and care, you know, and so we made that choice, and it was a challenging moment in my life because that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted my daughter, but I also knew that emotionally I could not continue with the bonding process, knowing that she was not well, that she wasn't healthy. And I really thought about the strain and the time that her care would require, and we just didn't have the capacity at that point. So, you know, I made that difficult decision, and it's been a really difficult topic to share, and part of the reason that I'm here is, you know, that's all I have is my voice. I'm in California, and my elected officials are pro-choice, and they support abortion care and access to abortion, and you know, I really feel like that's what I can contribute to such an important topic, because I know that everyone's circumstances are different, and we all have different reasons and different factors as to why we arrive at that decision to have an abortion. And I don't feel like I'm above or better than anyone. I believe I'm equal to everyone, and we're all entitled to make our own decision and our own choice.
Thank you for sharing that. What are some of the similarities that you've seen in the Jane Doe case and in your own case?
I think for me, what I see is that, you know, for her, she knew what her choice was. And even though there were various attempts to educate her and to persuade her to consider a different option and, you know, to change her mind, she was firm in her choice. And that's how I felt about my choice. You know, I didn't necessarily consider the other option. And even though it's not what I wanted to do, I knew that was the best thing for me. And I had to be firm in that, and I'm still firm in that. And I recognize that not a lot of women in my situation would necessarily have the outcome that I had. I'm very blessed and lucky that, you know, we were hoping to celebrate her birthday in January of 2008, and for us, we now celebrate her in July of 2008. You know, 2 months after that, I found out I was pregnant, and that's something that helped me get through those difficult days. I remember telling her, it's okay, don't be scared. You're gonna come back healthy and strong. And that belief is what really got me through that, because I went through all the range of emotions. You know, I'd never been pregnant before. This was a wanted pregnancy. And to be told that what just happened to us, we're now a part of the 1%. You know, they told us this happens in 1% of all pregnancies in our country. And I just, you know, I was angry and frustrated and disappointed and scared, but I just had to remind myself, it's okay, she's going to come back healthy and strong, and she is. She's going to be 10 in July, and she's feisty, and you know, we've gone through our challenges in her brief years in, you know, with me, and I always see that resilience in her, and it's a constant reminder that you have this incredible amount of strength in you, and it's been in you since before you were born. You know, and it's just, I have to remind myself that, and I look forward to the days where I can have these conversations with her and remind her of the power that she holds as a woman.
Why are you sharing your story today?
Like I said, you know, being in California, I feel like there's a limited amount of things that I can do because my elected officials already see things the same way that I do. And it's just about really using my voice, and participating in this event last year, it really gave me a lot of confidence to search within myself, to be comfortable, to say I had an abortion, and not present it as I've had a miscarriage, you know, because I did that for so many years. But just the climate that this current administration has really introduced and brought, you know, forward in our country, it's a reminder to me that I have to continue to use my voice, and you know, it's okay, you know, that I made that decision because it was the best thing for not just me but for my family at that time.
Thank you again for sharing your story.